Hello. So today's task is to make the folio for my March makes. I have prepared a few envelopes in advance because the idea for me or that came to me was that as I made quite a few envelopes in March, then I might as well make a folio of envelopes to decorate, stick together and decorate with the with some papers, digital papers that I've printed off, and the photos of those makes. So I've printed off the photos, and I've got a collection. I've got the collection of them here. They're all around. Where are we? They're in the vicinity of 4.5 by 3.5. Some might be 4 by 4. Some might be 4.5 by 3, something. But they're there or thereabouts. And the aim is to have, or I've made. The aim is for the folio to be around 6 by 8. So I've aimed the envelopes to be 5 and they've come out as 5 7/8 by 7 3/4. I was trying to get around 5.5 and by 7.5, but I couldn't quite get the measurements on either of my scoreboards to come to that, or the one from the Crafty Owl envelope punch board tool. So and I've done a video on how I make my envelopes with punchboard and the Creative Craft Products scoreboard, which you can find in the playlist for envelopes. So but yeah, so the paper size was 10 3/8, and the first score was at 4.5. And it came out at 5 7/8 by 7 3/4, and I've made 4 of those, which I think should be okay for what I want to do. So we'll put those over there for now. And then the kit I've got is from Sevenplaza on YouTube. She sells her kits via Ko-fi. So I will also link to the kit in the description. But it's basically going to be postal correspondence themed, and I'm going to use these papers to decorate the envelopes and the cover, although I haven't quite decided how I'm going to do the cover yet, but I'm sure it will come to me at some point. So this kit has some journal pages that can be printed off. It's got book spines or tags or bookmarks, whatever you want to use them for. It's got some tags. I won't show them all, but this is the sort of thing that the kit has. It has some background papers, and basically it's all correspondence themed, and I may have printed it off a few times by the looks of it, probably trying to get the print settings right. But that's basically, that's the type of thing that's in the kit. I know there's probably some freebie papers, and also be a freebie kit and also some paid or a paid for digital kit. So that's probably why there's a number of duplicates. But I think I did buy the main kit as well. So I'll be cutting up some of those, and I think there's also another freebie kit, which is just of things like labels, ledgers. I think that's where it came from. I'm not sure with this one. I just printed it off and not made a note of who it's from, but my guess would be that it's another Sevenplaza freebie kit with some little oddments in it that she scanned in at some point. If not, I will try to find out where I did get it from. It could also be that I've just found some random images and saved them and dropped them into a document, but I don't think that was the case, but I'll try and find out which one it was. So yeah, so that's what I've got to play with, and that's going to make up our journal for today. So my first task is to stick the envelopes together. Pop those over there. So I'm just going to stick the envelopes together. And then I'll be back. So all I'm going to do is attach each. I'm not worried about rounding off the corners because eventually you're not going to see those. So that's why I haven't done the corners for the top fold of the envelope. So I'm just going to stick them all together like that. Oops. And then I'll be back to decide what to do next. Okay, so I've attached the envelopes and they look something like that now. So then I've also taken the liberty while I was away to cut 2 pieces of 350 GSM card. This was Pink Frog. It was actually out of a batch of seconds, but there are a couple, or so far there's been a couple of pieces that have been slightly damaged, or yeah, but otherwise it's been pretty good. So yeah, so I've cut these at 6 by 8. And I'm just burnishing the cut edges so that they're not quite so prominent. There we go. And then what I thought I would do is these will get attached to each piece, and I took, or I thought I'd watched a video by Helen Griffin the other day where she made an envelope album, and she'd attached hers in this way, so I thought that would make quite a good way to do them. But what I'm going to do first is where I've attached the envelopes, they're not quite square, and I also want to create pockets, so I'm hoping that I can do 2 jobs in one go, and that is to get these lined up and also to create my pocket. To do that, I'm going to do it, rather than try and fit these under a guillotine or a trimmer, I'm going to use a knife, a craft knife. But before I do that, where is it? Here we go. I need my cutting mat. Right, so how am I going to do it? Sorry, it means going to be on a wonk for you, but I want to see if I can get these trimmed level. go. Right, we should have envelopes that we can get into now. And then what I'm going to do, I think, is create tabs. So fairly large tags that will slot into the envelopes. Right. Get rid of that. Away. So next, I'm going to attach these to the front and back. So, and at the moment I'm thinking I might leave the spine open, but I could, if I don't like that, I could put a wrap or something around the spine. So, right, let's get this glued down. I think I'll do this first. No, or not. No, I'll do the back first because I can then line the front up to the back. Right, so we'll put glue on. Use collal for this, and I have found some bottles that I just bought a set of, I think it was 6 or 8 off Amazon. Oops, took a bit off. They've got these plastic nibs that screw over the top, or lids that screw over the top, and they've got a relatively fine nib. So I've poured some collal because I don't like the collal bottles, but I do like the glue. So I poured that into these bottles, and I can now use collal on occasions when I feel it suits. Okay, now for this one, I obviously only want glue to go on this, so I will glue the flap rather than the card. And this time I can line it up. You do have quite a bit of wiggle time with collal, so that also means you need to be careful that you don't slide it out of alignment. I think we're okay. Yeah. Right. So that's our envelope. Folio album. It's not really a folio, but album has been made. So we now need to cover it, and I'm going to start or this is probably where I'll set it to music whilst I choose papers and cut those up. Okay, so I've covered the front cover and I will then cover the envelopes as I go along, including the back envelope. But what I was going to show was that obviously I've created an envelope, or I made these envelopes, whereas you know you could use pre-made envelopes, but this was relatively cheap. A3 copy papers that I'd bought, so I thought I'd use that rather than wasting more premium envelopes. So to do this, I'm going to pick out a paper which for maybe not that one, for the first envelope I shall use, I think I'll use this, maybe not. Should have chosen this before I ooh, what about this one? Yeah, I think maybe I'll go with this one. So to do this, obviously I don't want, because I've created a pocket, I don't want to completely glue this down. I'm just going to glue along these three, along the outer edges, and then put the glue, and then put the glue around the envelope. Excuse me a minute. Something's obviously upset my dog. So, right, where was I? Yeah, so that's what I'm going to do to cover the envelopes, and still maintain a pocket that I can use. So, yeah, right. Just to say before I go, go back to music, I'm going to cut it, I think, so that I can actually see that. I might even cut it. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to try and cut it so that you can, I think, in fact, what I should have done, and I might still do, is cut this over so that it maintains this whole page. So I'll see if I can do that. Right, I'll get the height right first, and then I'll see where I need to either fold or cut it so that I can, if I even need to cut it, and then yeah, right, okay. Shush, Bonnie. Bonnie, give us all the rest. Okay, so we ended, or the last part of the video ended with me completing the front inside cover, I think. Since then I have gone on to complete the folio in its entirety. I've had to leave it for a while, so this was actually completed over 2 weekends, and rather than showing you or recording all the pages, I just ended up not videoing these, not videoing me completing these pages and the tabs, and just getting on with it. So I thought what I'd do to finish the video was just do a quick walk through, and where I think there's anything that might help explaining, then I'll run through it. So I think where we ended up was that I'd put this page on, and you will have noticed I did exactly what I said not, or what I said we needed to avoid, and that was put glue here. So I had to, fortunately I did that, I noticed or realised what I'd done before I'd actually stuck it down properly, so I could quickly pull it off and remove the glue, and as you can see it's fine. So that's the first page, and then I went on, I've created 4 tabs of all that fit inside the pockets, and I cut up some of the embellishment ephemera pages or pieces from the kit, and I've decorated the tabs with it's sort of in chronological order, but it might not exactly be in chronological order. So I've added some sort of labels and collages and tickets and tags, and this is what I've ended up with. So, and I'll just flip or walk through what I've done for each page. So this was actually one of the labels, and it's cut in half, and I've put it at the top and the bottom. Yeah, so I went together, and again this was another page. It's just one complete page that I've stuck down, and then for the tab I've taken a couple more labels and added them to the background for that side. And then for this side I've taken one of the small postcards and one of the sort of strips, collage strips maybe they are meant to be, sort of thing, or labels. So that's that one. Again, another complete page, sort of journal page, and for this tab they've almost sort of become secret tabs, I guess, secret pockets, and then taken some more labels and envelopes. Yeah, oh, wrong way around. For that one, and then the last page, another full journal page, and a tab pocket with the last 2. There was actually another photo, but I discarded that as I didn't want to try and squeeze it in. It wasn't that. I think it was just how to make the shadow box envelope photo, and therefore I didn't worry about that too much. But yeah, so that's that side. And then last but not least, possibly for me my most important page, just again added a few labels and one of the strips down the side, and that is that folio made for the March makes, and I'll put that back together shortly, and that's the back page. And I haven't covered the spine. I'm not sure whether I like it or not, but what I do like is that it does make it quite flexible to open and shut. So yeah, so I'm quite pleased with that, and it will sit on the shelf. Oh. It will sit on the shelf with the other two that we've got now. So yeah, they're becoming quite a collection. I'm quite enjoying doing them and just having a reminder at the end or beginning of the new month of what I did in the previous month. So that's the folio for our March makes. So thanks for watching, and see you again soon. Bye.